there.
Like, I don't remember much about it being very, very small, but I remember for the student. We were out yesterday, quite long.
Sorry. Sale aquella, pero bueno.
去什么春游秋游的那种景点。
罗劳伦萨小城。什么南方小巴黎？
在那种地方走路的时候，真的很错乱，就是过度商业化。
you see the car?